Hi, I'm Connie. I'm a former outlaw old lady, and I'm chatting with Staxx.
Welcome to this episode of Chatting with Staxx. I'm your host, Bill Staxx, and today I got Connie. Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for joining me today. I appreciate you taking the time.
Thanks for having me.
So you were a former old lady.
Yes. My husband was in a support club for the Banditos with a Diamond 13. It's kind of the prerequisite to being a Bandito. You have to be in support for a year before you can become, well, that's what they say, but there are always,
Transfer them over, right?
They become, after that, they can become, well, this is the Tulsa chapter, and they're all supposed to be the same, but I don't think they are. In Tulsa, support for a year, then they can become an official hang around. They do that for 6 months, then prospect for 6 months, at least.
So what was it like being an old lady? What was your first experience to any of this? When did you get involved with the club life?
Well, my husband was an outlaw all his life. He just wasn't in any type of club. Like bar fights every time we went out, he was just always that way. And when it was actually him and my son was like, "Hey, Dad, let's go see about the Banditos." And I'm like, "No, I'll divorce your ass. We've still got young children at home. I ain't doing all that." My son is National Guard, and he was gone for a couple weeks. And my husband went out, and after work one day, he comes home, and he's like, "Guess who I met?" And I'm like, "Who?" He's like, "Some Banditos. You want to go to a party Saturday?" And I gave in, and I did. And it was absolutely nothing like I thought it would be. It was a pizza party. I think they were serving pizza. They were raising money for the first female Diamond 13 club in Oklahoma to support the Banditos. It was just like any other family get together. We were all sitting at a table, and I'm from the South. My parents had strict gender-based roles. My mom did the inside work. My dad did the outside. So we're all sitting at the table, and we finish, and I get my paper plate, my husband's, and I ask everybody, "Are you finished?" and start grabbing them. And the president of the Tulsa chapter, Cookie, he's like, "Oh, you don't have to do that." And I said, "I know I don't have to, and I wouldn't if I didn't want to." So I actually, until, went south, I had a really good relationship with all of them. They were, several of them wanted my old man to step up to become a Bandito because he had proven himself as support. He was their go-to guy. I was told by another old lady who her husband was SA at the time that they didn't want him to, they wanted him to step up, but they didn't want me because they knew they couldn't control me. Because I didn't give it. If a brother did you wrong, I'm calling the brother out. I mean, the brotherhood it's a joke anyway.
So your perception on what it was totally shattered.
Totally, yes. It was like there are guys that would watch my kids. They're not what the president in Tulsa works for the city of Tulsa. Like they're not, and they could be. Of course, old ladies don't know everything. But as far as what I experienced, I never saw any drugs used other than some weed and coke. And yeah, you might be at the bar and you cover for the guy who goes and uses the windowsill for his coke. But it was not like there were guys that used other harsher things. But the Banditos, one of their bylaws is no needles. You're not watching people shoot up and like that. There's not prostitutes. Trust me. If anything, they don't have a prostitution ring in Tulsa. In fact, 2 of them have to pay. Anyway, yeah, it shattered I'd watch Sons of Anarchy. I was like, whoa, they're going to be trying to pass me around. Hell no. If any of them looked at me wrong, all I had to do was go to my old man and it was straightened out. I was never talked down to. I was never treated bad. In fact, in the clubhouse, women, if you're quiet, they forget you're there and you can learn all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, so the women know a lot more than people.
Oh, think. Hell yeah. Oh, hell yeah. Everybody pillow talks. Everybody. I can't think of one member, bandito or support, whose old lady didn't come to me and say, "Hey, did you hear about this, or this? Because he accidentally told me last night." Or yeah,
Oh man.
and even the personal relationships, like the president of the Banditos, Cookie. He was at the bar, sitting at the bar one night, and at the clubhouse, and I was sitting there, and a support member walked in, and he was like, "Oh, Cookie, we did this, this, and this. Support's treated like slaves. Do you need us to do anything else? Everything but bowing to him. Nothing's really. There's not really a lot of secrets except for when somebody is 86. Then all you hear is they're out bad. You don't know why, and you can't contact them. I mean, they 86 one guy, and then went and told my husband that he was 86 because he had a kilo or two of cocaine shipped to his house in my daughter's name. That's a flat out lie. They 86 him because he didn't want. They were trying to make one support club turn in their patches and be another support club. All of them move over to, because they have maybe 3 or 4 different support clubs here in the Tulsa, and they didn't want to do it. So Cookie made up a reason to 86 him and happened to use my daughter's name. That guy's never met my daughter.
That's crazy.
And my husband, Cookie called, my husband was SA at the time. So Cookie made sure it was just him and his president, whose name was No in there when they talked about it. So my husband didn't tell me until several months ago, or his ex-husband, estranged husband, whatever. I don't care. But I am too. I can be a bitch, so. But when he told me, I immediately called the guy because I still talk to him. He's in another 1% club now. And he's like, "What the f- are you talking about?" I called his wife. She's like, "Hell yeah, we had a raid at our house, but my daddy went to jail. He had some shipped here." So it was just crazy. Like, they will flat out make things up. And you're 86, so nobody can talk to you. They're not allowed to talk to you.
People still do, right?
Oh, heck yeah. Heck yeah, especially when they're 86 for no reason. One guy, he was 86 twice, and now they're still trying to get him back, and he still talks to him. I don't know why people do that. I mean, with my situation, how I was treated, because they were supposed to be my family too. They were supposed to be my kids' uncles. When my husband was paralyzed while riding beside a bandit, maxed out, because that's the only way that bandit knew how to drive on a road he didn't know, and somebody behind James lost control and swerved into him. James is now a tetraplegic. He broke his C2, T4, had a stroke, and a TBI. He has full use of one arm, and that's it. They had a benefit for him. I had to fight 3 months later to get the rest of the money because they give you 30 days to pay. Nobody called him. The bandit that was riding beside him, he kept going for 10 fucking minutes. And when I got there 20 minutes later, I didn't know who it was. I just saw a helicopter landing where my husband was being picked up, and a PBOL, a bandito old lady, filming it. They were trying to keep me in the car. I thought he had already left, and I jumped out and went after her and told her she could put the camera away or I'd shove it up her ass. And then I went after the bandit who was riding beside him, because by this time my son was riding behind his dad at the time. And my son told me, he's like, "Mom, I should have whipped his ass." And I talking about the bandito. I said, "Why?" He said, "Because he was going 110 miles an hour." But they will bully the fuck out of you. I've seen them tell prospects, "Follow my president or follow my brother home." And for every second he gaps you, you're losing a day. So they say that, we don't force you to ride. We don't. Yeah, they do. If you don't keep up with them, you're a bitch and you're bleeding. They're just assholes.
And they have to ride. They ride like crazy.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Most of the time it's balls to the wall. If it's a long trip, not really, but in town, absolutely. I don't know if it's their way of measuring their or what, but they don't know, just normal.
Has there been a lot of car accidents with the bikes? A lot of bike accidents?
Oh, yes. So banditos are required, and some of them require their support to go to any funeral within 500 miles. And I think in 2023 alone, which 2023 was the Oklahoma City shooting, and I actually knew one of the banditos who was killed there, and it was a pretty crappy situation. 11 support member, or 11 went to jail, but these two bandits went in, started the fight. They were both killed. All the support guys they called to back them up, they went to jail. I think in 2023, I can count myself that I'm aware of, and I'm not aware of a whole lot because I was in Houston in the hospital with him most of the time, at least 6 funerals from car accidents. One of them happened during the last ride, the final ride at another funeral. So yeah, it's all the time, all the time.
There was an accident during the ride for the
During
funeral.
the final, the member who passed away, they do a final ride, and yes, another bandito was killed during that ride. And it's not just wrecks, though. Like, you have to watch your back when you have that patch on. My husband, he took 2 guns everywhere he went. He had one on his left for him in a holster and one on his right hand pocket for me in case I needed to grab.
Yeah, but you're on the back of the bike, right?
Uh-huh.
So you're
Yeah.
kind of like exposed. And
Oh yeah.
are you wearing a patch?
Oh yeah. I wore, and it's changed now after I left. After I got 86, they used my idea. The only patches that his club had, they're the OK Riders, and they were actually the Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigations has them rated as higher than the Banditos on their little outlaw danger list or whatever. But the only patches they had were proud old lady, an OK rider, and he was called Senior, so mine said Senior, and I was like, look, I don't like this. If y'all get in a bar fight, we take off before the cops get here, and they see me on the back, well, Senior was involved because let's see who Senior is. So now they just have, I think it's proud, it's like POKROL, like proud OKR old lady. But yeah, I wore the patch, and I've chased down other members, and in fact, it was kind of bad because he tried to lead us into a neighborhood with only one way out, and our whole pack was nowhere to be found because, well, there's not very brave ones out there. And in fact, they went back to tell the banditos because we were being followed from a bar night, and the banditos are still at the bar, and the bandits actually said, well, if they don't get back by the time we're ready to leave, we'll go look for them. Yeah, we were chasing another 1% member, like from another club. They didn't give a shit, even though the 1% stuff support is not supposed to help them take care of 1% business.